Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Charlie and I'm the head of character development for the Warrior Academy. We're super thrilled to have you join us for what promises to be a super enlightening and engaging session today. So before we dive in, I'd just like to take a moment to introduce our guest today, Jasmine Navarro, who is a renowned expert in emotional awareness, self-confidence, inner resources, and helps life coach students through education. With her extensive experience and innovative approach, Jasmine is uniquely positioned to provide us with some valuable insights into today's webinar. So, Jasmine, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Charlie. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So we are all super excited for today's webinar. So we're going to get straight to it, and I'm going to hand the virtual floor over to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, can everybody see the slides and everything? Because I can't. Okay. So my name's Jasmine, and I'm a certified wellbeing expert. And my story starts when I was a teenager. I went through some trauma. Basically. My father passed away, and I found out in the newspaper. So I was completely utterly shocked. You know, I had so many emotions and I didn't know how to manage all of the emotions that I was feeling. So, and nor did my family. So there was a communication breakdown as well, because nobody knew what to say to me. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to express myself. So this lack of effective communication and emotional awareness really stayed with me for a long time. Anyway, so what I ended up doing, when I was feeling okay, I decided just to leave this situation. And I ended up living and working in teaching in 11 countries. As you can see, with all of the hearts, they are all of the countries that I lived and taught in. I was teaching primary students, secondary students, adults. And, you know, I was a very confident teacher, but deep down, I had really low self-esteem because I hadn't really processed any of the grief that I'd experienced as a teenager, losing my father and everything. So fast forward 20 years. So I ended up teaching for 20 years. I looked back, I just looked back on my life, and I just thought, you know, all of these years, all of these countries teaching, I would like to do something else. And I really wasn't sure what to do. And I kept meeting coactive coaches. So I decided to take some training, coactive training, and then decide what I want to do, because I thought maybe this will give me some self-awareness. And it did exactly just that. Taking part in this course, which was over 2 years, really made me realize, you know, how important it was to work on yourself, and how, you know, self-awareness is just so fundamental in everything we do in our lives. You know, we don't know what we don't know. So during this transformation, I just realized that, you know, awareness is the first step to anything and everything. So in that moment, I realized that I wanted to, you know, be a coach and work with teenagers, children, and parents, and really teach key tools and techniques that I wish I'd have had as a teenager, and also I wish that my mum would have had as well. So that's what I do today. So today I'm a certified professional coach. Obviously, I've got 20 years teaching experience behind me, international. I'm also a public speaker. So that's what I do. And like I said, I teach teenagers and adults to have core confidence, because I believe it's not just about having self-confidence, you know, your ability to do things. It's about how you really feel about yourself as well. And I work with, you know, children, teenagers who have lack of confidence, poor communication, loneliness, isolation, stress, fear, anxiety, putting too much pressure on ourselves, and perfectionism. And as I mentioned, I work with teenagers and adults as well. And I really do believe, and I've seen in my experience, if these problems are not dealt with straight away, they can really turn into more serious problems. like depression, anxiety can turn into severe anxiety, bullying, self-harm, addiction, different types of addiction. So I really believe it's really, really important to equip children and teenagers with these key tools and techniques that I learned during my coaching training to prepare them for life. So today we're going to talk about supporting students and children through transition. So, okay, it's not very straight. So we've spoken about me. We're going to look at transition challenges, the 3 golden rules: effective communication, active listening, validation, powerful questions, supporting children's emotions. So the first question is what I always ask, my clients, participants in my workshop. How are you really feeling today? Like, how are you really feeling right now? And it's such a powerful question. It's such a simple question, but it's also a question that we rarely ask ourselves or ask other people, and are really authentic as well with our answers, because most of the time you hear, I'm good, I'm fine, things like that. So if you're there and you're watching, parents, adults, whoever you are, I would love you to just stop for a second and just, ask yourself, how are you really feeling? And how do you know how you're feeling? And maybe you're feeling more than one emotion. That's absolutely possible. We have so many feelings. And one of the most important things that I learned in coaching was there are no right or wrong feelings, no positive or negative feelings. Whatever we are feeling is okay. This blew my mind and was the first step to changing my whole entire life. Okay, so that's the first question. So going back to children and transition. So think about, what challenges do children actually face during school transitions? So let's have a look at some. So we have new building, new teachers, peer pressure, puberty, social media, academic pressure, career choices, traveling to school alone. And that's just to name a few. So it's a lot. There's a lot that children, teenagers have to manage when they are going through a school transition. So that's the first step. Let's be aware of what they're actually managing at the time. So, and I do believe that the power of effective communication and emotional awareness can really help in so many situations, if not all situations, if done correctly. And by the end of this session, I want you to be able to take away some key tools and techniques that you can start straight away, like really simple things that you can start straight away. So I really do believe it's the simple things that are powerful, and it's the simple things that we actually do, Otherwise we can get, so overwhelmed with so many things to do, and then we don't do anything. And I'm speaking from, myself as well. So the power of communication. So why is this good? Well, this builds a healthy relation. So power of communication with your family, this builds a healthy relationship with children, and it equips them with key tools and techniques. Oops, okay. So the benefits of this is, children can then access their inner strength and courage. It allows them to become independent, self-reliant individuals, can maximize their potential in their studies, and of course, help them manage school transitions with ease and confidence. So the main idea is not to ignore the issue, and also not to overreact to the issue. So avoiding extremes. So let's have a look. I always teach the 3 golden rules. So number 1 is active listening, and we'll look at that. Validation and powerful questions. These are the 3 things that I'm going to be talking about today. And I think they're absolutely fundamental for having effective communication within the family. So, active listening. So the first question I would, ask you to think about is, how do you feel when you're really being listened to? Because, we know when we're not being listened to. And of course, our children know when we're not listening to them. But equally, when we're being listened to, we feel good, right? It makes us feel important. It makes us feel acknowledged. So it's very important just to listen, really listen. So we're not just listening, we're digesting and understanding what our children are saying. It's not just about staying silent while your child or teenager is speaking and waiting for our turn to speak, or planning, your reply. So don't plan your reply, basically, because you might miss important information. When you're thinking, okay, what am I going to say, or how am I going to solve this? You're missing out on what your child is actually saying. And of course, they can feel it. Active listening is also listening without any kind of judgment. And I think this is really, really important too. If your children are feeling judged, are they going to speak to you? So are you going to create that strong relationship with them? Don't talk over them. Let them speak. Also, active listening is, nodding your head, acknowledging, saying things like, oh, I see, summarize what you hear. This shows that you have been listening. And again, when we know we're being listened to, we're going to feel safe, we're going to feel acknowledged, we're probably going to open up more. This is going to strengthen the relationship. And put down your phone. There's research that probably we all know about. If you're talking to someone and you have your phone, there's research that suggests the other person doesn't feel like they're being listened to, even if you're not checking your phone, which of course, don't check your phone. So put down your phone, even remove it out of the way, and really listen with your full attention. And this creates a feeling of respect, connection, goodwill. And of course, when you do this with your children, they will be more willing to listen to you. So it's really a win-win situation. So more on active listening. So active listening will help your children encourage them to explore their own thoughts and feelings. And they will probably come up with solutions themselves. And, just so, because I have a lot of parents come to me and they say, I'm really worried about my child. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. They just want to solve the problem. And, often I say, have you tried just listening? And as it says here, just a caring attitude and being silent sometimes is all it takes. So that's lots on active listening. So we cannot underestimate how important active listening is. So the next golden rule is validation. So, as sometimes children, same as adults, cannot or aren't able to express their feelings, because, sometimes it's really hard to even know how we're feeling, let alone express our feelings. I mean, I definitely didn't know how to express my feelings as a teenager. And I've only just learned a few years ago. So, when we put our feelings into words, it can have a deep impact. When we put their feelings into words, sorry. So, we can help them identify their feelings, and this will help them feel understood and cared for. And, it's easy to say, oh, I understand how you feel. This is so general, and we can say this so easily. It's very important to be specific. So if your child's talking about something, instead of just saying, I understand how you feel, you could say, for example, yes, there are so many different things, like they're starting a new school, for example, and you can say, yes, there's so many different things to get used to, new classrooms, new teachers. It must be really hard. This shows that we understand them. We're validating them. And you can use phrases like, I imagine, or you might feel worried or tired or something. We can identify the feeling. And it doesn't matter if it's not right. They will correct us. Or I imagine that feels very stressful, or you might feel overwhelmed. We can help them identify feelings. And, like I said before, what happens if you identify a feeling and it turns out to be wrong? Don't worry, they will correct you. And already you're creating that space for effective communication. You're having real conversations, real communication. So, and you can ask a question to see if you have understood correctly. If you're not sure, because maybe you just don't know, and you can say, if I understand you right, then you're saying this, or are you saying that? You can ask. You don't need to know everything. So the information is flowing. You are learning what's important. You're having real communication with your child, teenager. And, you can follow up with, oh, I see, and let them explain further. So they're actually telling you, you are listening, you are validating, but they are the ones explaining. And feeling listened to and being validated is all they want in order to feel better. And probably you can identify to that as adults as well. Sometimes when we've just been listened to, we've got a really big problem, we're feeling terrible, we talk about it, we've been listened to, we feel better, right? Same for children. Often, after being listened to and given a short pause to think, like I said before, children can come up with their own solutions. Listening, validating, giving them time. Normally, 9 times out of 10, they will come up with their own solutions. We just need, as parents, to be patient and nod along. And, more things that you can say when you're validating them. You could say, it might be hard making new friends at school. And, they might say, no, that's the easy part. It's the work that's hard. But now you have effective communication. You are talking about what's really going on. So that's validation. So we've got active listening, validation, and now empowering questions, which is the third golden rule. So after we've done the active listening, we've acknowledged the feelings, you might want to provide the solution. But as I mentioned before, there's no need to do this. There's a better way to improve communication. Empowering questions. So we want to ask them a good quality question. So a thought-provoking question. This helps your child gain insights and realizations about themselves. This can be empowering because it allows them to find their own solution. And powerful questions are particularly helpful when, your child or teenager is feeling demotivated or they believe that they just can't do something. When you ask them a question and they find the answers themselves, it motivates them. There's so many different powerful questions, but, they need to be open. For example, what can you do right now? How can you do it? What small step can you take today to help you towards achieving it? So it's really asking them what they can do, what they think. So what, how, when, who, these open questions. In coaching, we tend not to use why questions so much, because why questions, if you're talking to your child and they're not feeling very good about something and you just say, why did you do that? Why are you feeling like that? The why questions are not so empowering. They tend to be more judgmental, not all of them. So we sort of stay away from those. And we ask what, how, when, who questions and wait for them to answer the question. So some more examples of powerful questions. So, and I would like you to, take a minute and just have a look at these questions. Just choose one question and answer it in your mind. Or if you're with somebody, you can ask them the question. Just have a look at one of these questions and just answer one yourself, so you can sort of experience what it feels like. Because maybe you already use these questions, but in my experience, most of the time when I show these powerful questions, parents, teenagers, they haven't asked themselves or been asked these questions for a long, long time, if ever. So, you can really learn things about yourself. These are just a few examples. If you could change anything, what would you do? What is something you're great at? Who or what makes you laugh most? What is the best present you've received? What makes you happy? They're just questions that make you think a little bit. So then you learn a little bit about yourself. And there's so many. So yes. So better communication equals active listening plus validation plus empowering questions. Whoops. Okay. So they're the 3 golden rules that I would suggest we use all of the time, every day. Okay, so going back to helping children going through transition. So we've got the 3 golden rules behind us. So how else can we help children, students talk about their fears? So we really want to create that safe space. So again, we're showing respect, we're being supportive, we're giving them space, we're reassuring them, and again, there's no judgment or criticizing. So this is what creating a safe space is all about. This is very important. And timing is crucial. So going back to, your children, they're scared about starting a new school or have fears about other things. Timing is crucial. So we need to, acknowledge their need to talk. We need to acknowledge it. We need to have that in-depth conversation. And it needs to be a time and a place that works for them, because you can't, maybe, when you come home, when the child comes home from school and then you start having this conversation, it's probably not the right time when they've just finished school. So timing is really crucial. And I love this. If we don't talk things out, we act them out. And it's just so true. Children, if they're not very happy, if they're going through things, their behavior is what speaks. So this is true. So we want to talk things out so our children don't act things out. So, and you can tell them, I see that there are a few things on your mind. I can help you with that. Why don't we fix a time to chat about it after class? So ask them when is a good time for them to talk about it. And, you can plan the conversation before it happens. If you're not sure what to say, you can plan it before it actually happens. So you can get some phrases ready. You can, learn what kind of problems you can expect. and manage your emotions as well. That's very, very important. So we're going to go through 7 different things you can talk about or do to give hope and encouragement during these times of transition. Your child, teenagers feeling, lots of fear, anxiety, worry, stressed. But we can only do these after you have validated them and addressed their concerns. So this order, the order that I'm showing you all of these tools and techniques is I would say is the best order to do this with your children, teens. They need to be validated first and their concerns need to have been addressed. Okay. So number 1, so remind your children that change is inevitable. You can tell them that big changes feel scary. It's an inevitable part of life, but changes can give people valuable new skills. And if we stay the same and it's stable and we're comfortable, it doesn't help us to grow. So we need change. Without change, we would never improve. Change can be positive. It offers opportunities, socializing, learning new skills, becoming more mature, and creating new memories. So we can tell them about, the positive benefits of change. Number 2, reflect on eating, sleeping, and organizational habits. I mean, we all know it's important to eat and sleep well, and children can struggle with this. So again, it's about acknowledging that it's easier said than done, especially after, some holidays when the school routine and everything goes out the window. So it's a good idea to, especially if your children are going to a new school, it's a good idea to try and regulate their routines a week before school starts. So it's not just, they're just thrown in the deep end, new school, everything's new, it can be even more overwhelming. So trying to regulate the routine a week before can really help. So then it won't be such a shock for them. Of course, a healthy breakfast will help them to feel more relaxed and personable rather than the hangry monster that's hard to socialize with. So again, it's about encouraging good habits, a structured morning routine, keep the school bag, homework in a designated spot, planning for the day ahead, and keeping their space organized. All of these things can help with change. And another important tip that you can do is encourage your children to help somebody else as well. Remind your children that they're not the only ones who are feeling nervous or experiencing first day jitters. And, they're not the only ones. And also studies show that helping others actually reduces nervousness. So it can actually help them as well. So they're helping someone else and they're actually helping themselves. So encourage a little bravery. Suggest that they smile and ask somebody's name. This will show support and it can help ease their own worries. So they're not just focused on themselves and how much, how worried they are about going into a new classroom, a new teacher, new friends. And number 4, you can turn the conversation to what they could actually get excited about. So you can shift them from feeling nervous to feeling excited. And you can do this by suggesting that they make a list of things that they can look forward to in the new school. Could be a school play, going camping, learning a new subject, improving grades, making a new friend. So we can turn nervousness into excitement. So number 5, we can discourage children comparing themselves to others, which I think in my experience as well, this is when I'm working with teenagers, parents are always telling me, my children are comparing themselves to other children. And I guess social media doesn't always help with this, but we really need to discourage this. Peer pressure is really common at this time of life, and children do compare themselves to others, and maybe more now with social media. So try and tell them to compare themselves to themselves, like a month ago, a year ago, not to anybody else, but just to themselves in the past. That's the most important thing. And then you have mindfulness activities that we often do, with children. This is a simple exercise. If they're feeling really nervous, really anxious, stressed, you can say, right, 5 things, write down 5 things you can see, or say 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. This can be really helpful just to bring your child into the present. So they're not just in their head worrying. But again, as well, talking about how they're feeling, you can, identify their feelings as well, name their feelings. That's absolutely fine. And that's actually very good as well. Number 7 is encourage them to get up and get moving. So obviously, gentle exercise calms nerves, can relax muscles, it releases the feel-good oxytocin, boosts mood, and helps you feel more positive about the challenges ahead. And you can explain these benefits too. So again, having effective communication, and encourage them to do this with their friends as well. They might not want to do it alone, they might not want to do it with you, so encourage them to get up and get moving with their friends. And so they're the main tips for today. So you've got the 3 golden rules and timing. So timing is very important. Planning that conversation with your child, and the 7 steps to help you manage your child's, anxiety, fear, and stress. But the most important thing I would say is the 3 golden rules: the active listening, the validation, the powerful questioning, and, creating that safe space, being honest with your child. You don't have to know everything. It's just being present, creating that space, letting them express whatever they need to express to you, and just accepting it, because this creates effective communication. It's real communication. When your children talk to you about the small things and it's okay, they feel better, they're going to come to you with the bigger things as well. So it's the 3 golden rules: active listening, validation, and powerful questioning. And do you have any questions? So that's it for today. I do have actually.
Amazing. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Charlie. There's just one more thing, actually. But this is just that this is something that I use with children I work with, children and teenagers as well. If anybody wants a copy of this, so the children can complete this. It's like a feel-good activity, so they can see their goals. But not goals. They can see their qualities.
Amazing. We'll leave that up on the screen just for a moment.
Okay. Yes.
Jasmine, thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience, your expertise, and for making our webinar such a success today. We have had a couple of questions come in. So first one, I'm just going to fire them at you.
Okay.
Okay. First one, are there any warning signs that indicate a child is struggling to cope with a transition, and how should parents or educators intervene with this?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I think the biggest warning sign is changes in behavior. What I was saying about, if we don't talk it out, we act it out. And I think children, because so many children, they don't know how to express themselves. So they would, it's their behavior. It's their behavior. So maybe, they've just started not going with their friends or spending more time in their room alone, or maybe they're not eating, just any kind of change in their behavior, or maybe they're getting angry, any sort of change it's different in their behavior, that would be a sign, I would say. That's a time to talk. Really, you want to be talking before then, but definitely then that's clear there's something not right.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic. And the second question is, how important is family communication during transitional periods, and what strategies can families use to improve communication?
Yeah, well, I think family communication is the most important communication. I think, everything starts at home. I really do believe that everything starts at home. If your children can communicate freely, healthily at home, and they feel safe, then they're going to have a healthy relationships with themselves, and they're going to take that into all areas of their lives, school, friends, whatever they do. So yeah, the best way to communicate is for parents is to model this behavior. So it's the active listening, the validation, and the powerful questions. I think those three techniques can really create this effective communication. Honesty, but mainly, non-judgment. It's non-judgment.
That's fantastic. Amazing. Jasmine, once again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you with us today. And I hope that, and I'm sure that we will get the opportunity to do this again pretty soon. And we look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Jasmine. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So I hope you all enjoyed the expert webinar today with Jasmine. Every single week, we'll be hosting an expert webinar just like this one. So make sure that you stay tuned to find out who our guest will be for next week. But for now, I'm going to leave you with a quick video, which gives you just a little bit more of an insight into our team of experts here at the Warrior Academy.
I'd love to introduce you to our team of experts here at the Warrior Academy.
So I'm a senior pediatric occupational therapist.
I'm a family well-being expert.
I am a certified conscious parenting coach.
I'm a pre- and postnatal exercise specialist.
I work with children and parents in the area of cyberbullying prevention and digital wellness.
I am the co-creator and founder of Junior Gladiator Kidpreneurs. I am a operational coach and therapist.
I am a doctor and an expert in mental health.
First of all, parenting is tough. It's a journey of self-discovery. And as much as we learn about our children, we also learn so much about ourselves going through this process. Ultimately, after working with 50,000 families around the world over the last 15 years, we've come to realize that if we really want to maximize the character development and the transformations that make young people, we need to work with parents as well. We need to provide an unparalleled level of support to parents as well as the children. Being a parent myself, I realized that there are so many times during a parent's journey where a little extra support or some well-timed advice can make a huge difference to our lives and the lives of our children. In the Warrior Academy, we also believe that children copy what we do more than they listen to what we say. So as we take our children on a journey of self-development through martial arts, we want to provide our Warrior Academy parents with the same opportunity to grow and develop, because we know what an impact that will make to the children and to the family unit. Imagine having access to a team of experts to support your parenting journey. A team of the region's leading doctors, psychologists, therapists, best-selling authors, specialists in human psychology, behavioral psychology, special educational needs, ADHD, autism, bullying, cyber safety, family communication, and even addiction and eating disorders, as well as mindfulness and meditation and emotional regulation. So how can you as a parent work with our team of experts? Well, as a Warrior Academy member, you will get access to 3 things from our team of experts. Firstly, every month we'll be hosting a monthly webinar and a Q&A session on a specific topic. So these group webinars are for our Warrior Academy parents so that you can learn from the experts on a specific topic you're most interested in. You can discover more about a topic that you would like to learn about. The next thing you'll have access to is one-on-one referrals. So when you complete the character compass, our team will then get an insight into where we feel you could do with the additional support, if you do indeed need any additional support. We can then provide you with a 30 to 45 minute free consultation with one of our experts at no cost to you. The third thing we can provide you with is emergency support. Should you ever need emergency support with a time-sensitive and highly challenging situation, we will personally reach out to our team of experts to have a group discussion about the challenge you're going through to provide you with immediate assistance. The entire group suddenly springs into action to help you solve the problem you're facing. Now, this could be a serious and dangerous case of bullying. It could be the loss of a loved one or a family disaster. Of course, we hope this never happens, but what we want to do as a member of the Warrior family is provide our Warrior parents with a level of care and support like no other community out there.